June 2025, Liverpool shattered their transfer record, signing in the club's 133-year history. But this wasn't just about buying another creative midfielder. Liverpool had cracked a code that every other club missed. At just 22 years old, Florian Wirtz had already done the impossible. Across Europe's top 5 leagues, only one U23 player had more goal involvements than Wirtz's 44 over the last 2 seasons. Only one. And that's when Liverpool knew they couldn't wait. The mastermind behind Wirtz's transformation? Xabi Alonso. The same Xabi Alonso who orchestrated Liverpool's greatest midfield moments. The same tactical genius who built an entire unbeaten season around one player's brilliance. But why Florian Wirtz? Why now? And how does a player molded by a Liverpool legend fit into Arne Slot's revolution? What you're about to discover might just explain Liverpool's next decade of dominance. Now, to understand why Liverpool moved heaven and earth for Wirtz, you need to understand the puzzle they were desperately trying to solve. When Jurgen Klopp walked away from Anfield, he left behind more than just memories. He left behind a tactical void. Arne Slot arrived with a completely different vision. Where Klopp relied on chaos and intensity, Slot demanded precision and control. His 4-2-3-1 system had one glaring requirement: a conductor in that number 10 position who could unlock the tightest defenses. You see, Liverpool had already spent big on Mac Allister, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch. Quality players, absolutely, but none of them possessed that rare ability to receive the ball between the lines, turn into traffic, and thread the pass that changes everything. Since Philippe Coutinho's departure, Liverpool has been searching for their creative soul. Michael Edwards knew this. Richard Hughes knew this. They'd assembled the most sophisticated recruitment operation in world football, and they had identified their target. But what they discovered about Wirtz went far beyond just his ability with the ball. Here's where Wirtz's story becomes absolutely fascinating for Liverpool fans. This wasn't some overnight sensation. At 17, when most players are still figuring out professional football, Wirtz was already creating chances at an elite level. Since his Bundesliga debut, he created 253 open play chances. The only player ahead of him, Thomas Müller. But raw numbers only tell part of his story. The real transformation happened under one man, and Liverpool fans will love this connection. Xabi Alonso didn't just coach Wirtz, he molded him. The same tactical intelligence that made Alonso a Liverpool icon. The same understanding of space and timing that defined some of Anfield's greatest nights. Alonso recognized these exact qualities in the young German. One of the top players in the world, he's world class, Alonso said. He knows how and when to play simple passes. Now, when a Liverpool legend who understands what it takes to succeed at the highest level gives that endorsement, you listen. But here's what makes this even more incredible. Wirtz had to overcome something that breaks many young players. In March 2022, Florian Wirtz's world collapsed. An ACL tear. For a player whose game relies on quick movements and sharp changes of direction, this was potentially career-defining. Many players never returned to their previous level. Wirtz, he came back stronger. His 2024-25 season numbers read like a cheat code. He attempted 165 take-ons in the Bundesliga, more than anyone else. He completed 82 of them, again, more than anyone else. 5 of his assists came directly after beating his man with a dribble. But here's the stat that should terrify Premier League defenders. Across the last 2 seasons, only 3 players in Europe's top 5 leagues completed more dribbles than Wirtz. Their names? Yamal, Kudus, and Doku. Now, you might assume that's impressive for an attacking midfielder, but wait until you see his defensive numbers. Those 1.25 high turnovers per 90 minutes didn't just lead the Bundesliga. They represented 15 more than any other player across 2 seasons. In 9 Champions League games last season, he registered 679 pressures, the most on his team. This is where Liverpool's interest becomes crystal clear. They weren't just buying creativity. They were buying a player who fits their system perfectly. But how exactly does he fit? Watch Wirtz receive the ball between the lines. His head's always up, scanning for options before the ball even arrives. That first touch, it's always perfect, always into space, always giving him a split second more than his marker expects. Then comes the magic. His shot accuracy last season, 50%. 39 of his 78 attempts found the target. This isn't a player who wastes possession with hopeful efforts. Every decision is calculated, every touch has purpose. But perhaps most impressive is his composure. At 22, in high-pressure situations where seasoned professionals crack, Wirtz thrives. That mental strength was forged in adversity, returning from that ACL injury stronger than before, proves the mentality Liverpool desperately needed. Now, here's where it gets really interesting for Liverpool fans. How exactly does this profile fit into what Arne Slot is building? Arne Slot had a problem. His 4-2-3-1 system demands a specific type of player in that number 10 role. Not just someone who can create chances, but someone who can be the hub of an all-attacking play while maintaining defensive discipline. Someone who can rotate positions, create overloads, and keep defensive blocks guessing. Enter Florian Wirtz, and here's where Liverpool's planning becomes genius level. You see, Slot's system already pushes numbers into the front line, using inverted fullbacks to feed that crucial right inside channel where Salah operates. But without a proper conductor in the middle, the patterns were predictable. Wirtz solves this completely. But Liverpool didn't just sign Wirtz. They reunited him with Jeremy Frimpong, the same partnership that terrorized Bundesliga defenses. Those inside-out combinations, those blindside runs, those cutbacks that created havoc at Leverkusen. Liverpool have imported the entire formula. But here's what makes this signing truly special. It's not just about what Wirtz can do now. At 22, Florian Wirtz is already posting numbers that rank among Europe's absolute elite. But here's the frightening part for Liverpool's rivals. He's nowhere near his peak. His game is built on attributes that actually improve with age. Scanning ability, timing, decision-making, technique. These are the qualities that allowed players like Xabi Alonso to remain world-class well into their 30s. Wirtz possesses all of them in abundance. Those 44 league assists since his Bundesliga debut, that's not just talent, that's consistency. Month after month, season after season, he's been the creative force that makes everything tick. At an age when most players are still learning the game, Wirtz has already mastered it. The ACL injury actually provides the perfect character reference. Instead of breaking him, it made him stronger. That mental resilience combined with his technical gifts suggests Liverpool haven't just bought a player, they've invested in a decade of excellence. But the real question is, what does this mean for Liverpool's immediate ambitions? Right now, Liverpool is competing in the most competitive era in Premier League history. Manchester City have De Bruyne. Arsenal have Odegaard. Chelsea has their young stars. Liverpool needed their answer. With Wirtz pulling the strings and Frimpong providing the width, Liverpool suddenly have attacking patterns that no Premier League defense has seen before. Those same combinations that made Leverkusen unbeatable for 51 games straight are now being perfected at Anfield. Wirtz threading through balls to Salah's runs. Quick combinations with McAllister in tight spaces. Those disguised passes find Gakpo in the box. The creativity that has been missing since Coutinho is not just back, it's evolved. His pressing adds another dimension that makes Liverpool's high press even more effective. When you can win the ball high up the pitch with a player who can immediately create a chance, you become devastating. That's exactly what Wirtz brings. Liverpool isn't just adding a talented player to their squad, they're completing a puzzle that could define the next decade of English football. So, why did Liverpool break their transfer record for Florian Wirtz? Because sometimes a single signing can change everything. They found a player whose numbers already rank among the world's best. a player molded by a Liverpool legend who understands what it takes to succeed at Anfield. A player whose age means this is just the beginning of his story. When Xabi Alonso shaped Wirtz's understanding of the game, he was unknowingly preparing Liverpool's future. The same tactical intelligence that made Alonso a Liverpool icon now flows through the player who could define the club's next golden era. Liverpool didn't just buy Florian Wirtz for today, they bought him for the next decade. And if his first 2 seasons at Leverkusen are anything to go by, that decade is going to be very special indeed. But here's what I want to know. Do you really believe £116 million for a 22-year-old is the masterstroke that brings Liverpool back to the summit? Or are we witnessing another expensive gamble that could backfire spectacularly? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see where you stand on this one. Now, if you want more of these tactical breakdowns that actually explain why clubs spend the big money, hit that like button and subscribe. Turn on those notifications too, because when the next mega signing happens, you'll want to know the real story behind it.